Hey friends, hey, it's your girl Kitty. If you are new to my channel, welcome. If you are a ride or die, part of KKC, welcome back. Today, guys, oh, for freak's sake, that cat, I'm telling you. Why do I even let her in here? I feel guilty when I shut her out because she just meows like nonstop, wanting back in. Oh my God. Kitties. Anyways, guys, today I'm having Little Caesars pizza. I have the deep dish pizza, and I have cheesy garlic fingers or garlic bread, whatever, some ranch to dip everything in, and I have some cucumber. So, and I poured a glass of Pepsi and I forgot it. It's a sign, don't drink it. It's a sign, don't drink it. I have this is not the coldest water bottle. This is the H2 Glow. The H2 Glow. I bought this today because I like that it says H2 Glow. And it's pink. It's chrome pink. And yeah, so I bought that today. Not that I need another water bottle because we have like a lot of water bottles here. Okay, so let's get into this mukbang. So ranchity ranch. Where do I start? What do I want? Let's go in for the cheesy bread. You guys like yum. Mmm. Oreo. Come here. Sucker. So, what shall we talk about? Oreo. Cucumber. Yummy. Pizza. Isn't that what No, is that, who says Pizza Pizza? Is that Little Caesar or Pizza Toy? No. I don't know what to talk about. I know what I want to talk about, but I don't know. Yeah, let's start the story. All right. So, I've already covered, my pregnancy was pretty easy, other than like a bunch of doctor's appointments, like crazy amount of doctor's appointments. So, and I covered me being in labor, and I know you're probably wondering, when did her water break? We'll get to that. So I'm 7 centimeters dilated, and the only ones in the room is me, my mom, and Jamie. And the machine starts going absolutely bonkers. The baby's heart rate drops, mine drops. Or no, his dropped, my heart rate elevated. And the nurse, I think my mom pushed the button for like to call a nurse, and the nurse come in, and so the machine's going crazy, the baby's heart rate's dropping, my heart rate elevates, and they're like, I'm like puking in a bowl. What are you doing? I'm just playing with a toy. I start throwing up. I told you guys I was puking sick the entire time. I know it's disgusting, but you don't want to hear talk of labor and delivery, don't watch this video. So I'm like half over the bed in the middle of contraction. The machine's going crazy. There's nurses all around me. My mom's like pacing back and forth. Jamie's standing there like a fucking deer in headlights, doesn't know what the fuck to do. And a nurse, or no, my mom was holding the bowl that I was throwing up in, and Jamie was just kind of standing in the background like, what the, like, he just looked like he wasn't even, like, he was there, but he was like not there. And the doctor comes in, and the nurses and the doctor, and they're talking and this and that, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? I'm like so confused. I'm in pain. The doctor's like, she's like, Brenda, I need you to calm down. Because I was like kind of freaking out. I need you to calm down, stay as calm as you can. And I'm like trying to listen and trying to focus, and I'm dry heaving, and because by this point there was nothing left for me to throw up. I'm like dry heaving, and that sucks. Most people have experienced that. It sucks. She said, we need to do a C-section. We need to get the baby now. And I'm like crying, just start bawling. I'm like, I don't want a C-section. I'm like freaking out. She said, I'm sorry. We need to take the baby now. We need to get the baby now. So they're like, she's like telling this nurse, like, whatever, doctor talk. And she runs out of one of the nurses runs out of the room. They make a call to wherever to prep the OR. I'm absolutely devastated because I don't want to have a C-section. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I've went through what I went through for pain, and I'm 7 centimeters dilated, and now you're telling me that I'm going to have a C-section? Are you kidding me? I was pissed. But it is what it is. They had to get him out now. Next thing you know, they're putting the sides up on my bed. They're wheeling me out of the hospital, out of the labor and delivery room. I'm crying, screaming, I don't want to have a C-section. I don't want to have a C-section. They get me to, not the public elevators, obviously. They have like other elevators. So they take me like to the other elevators and take me down to the operating room. They wheel me in the operating room, and they move me from my hospital bed, like to the labor and delivery bed, to the operating table. And I'm like hyperventilating, like looking around like, holy fuck, like what is going on? Oh my God. And there's nurses rushing all around. Anesthesiologist comes through the door. He's talking to me. I'm like, not really. Now I'm like there, but not there. And he's like, we're doing this, we're doing that, gonna freeze you, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, he said, do you understand what I'm saying, what I'm gonna do? I'm like, yeah, no. So he's like prepping and he's talking and doing whatever with these needles. And I'm just like, it's like, it was kind of like almost an out-of-body experience. Like my mind just, it's like he's talking. He's like right beside me. I'm like laying down. He's like right here talking to me. And I'm just like, I remember like just everything seemed muffled. Anyway, so They freeze me. And he had like a little needle thing. And he was just gently like poking me. He's like, "Can you feel that?" I'm like, "No." "Can you feel that? Can you feel that?" I'm like, "No, no, no." And he's like working his way, like just to see how far, like if the numbing's doing what it's supposed to do. Numbing where it needs to be numb, right? Anyways, half of me froze. Half. So he keeps going and I'm like, "Ow." And he's like, "You feel that?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "How about this?" I'm like, "Ow." Like, and he's like, "What about this?" And I'm like, "Yes, I feel that." And then he goes back to the other side and he's like, I'm like, "No, I can't feel that." But when he came over only on one, like half of me would freeze. The other half was still not frozen. Anyways, and then, so while they're doing all this, a nurse had given Jamie scrubs to go change, like to go put the scrubs on and a cap and everything, like, cause you know, you're going into the operating room. He had to be dressed straight up. Anyways, so he's got the hair thing on, the mask, the scrub shirt, the scrub pants, the little booties, little footy things that go over your shoe. Like, he was decked right out, standing in the hallway waiting. And so I wouldn't freeze. They had to put me under. They had to put me under. They had to put me to sleep to do the C-section. So the anesthesiologist left, obviously, because the freezing wasn't working. It was only freezing half of me. So, and honestly, I have a feeling it has to do maybe with the epidural. Would that interfere, maybe? I just thought of that. So then, the doctor, she's like, "Now she said, I'm gonna put this mask on your face and I want you to count to 10. And I was like, "You want me to count?" And she's like, "Yep." So the mask is already on my face as she's saying, "I want you to count to 10. I'm like, "You want me to count?" She's like, "Yep." I go, "What?" And that was it. That's all out. I didn't even get one out. And I was done. I felt so bad that Jamie had to stand in the hallway and wait. You know, not knowing what was going on. He had to stand in the hallway dressed in scrubs. Not knowing what's going on in the room. I can't even imagine what was going through his head. And they got John out. And they put him in the little incubator thingamajig, little box. And Jamie is standing in the hallway. And my mom's there. Or no. No. Jamie's in the hallway. Mom was in the waiting room. Up by labor and delivery. They rushed John out of the operating room. Past Jamie. to the NICU. My mom said all we remember seeing is them rush by with a baby to the NICU. And my mom's like, I just felt it. I just knew it was our baby. I knew that was him. And they put him in the NICU and they closed me up. And I was in recovery. And once I was like, you know, came out of the anesthetic and I was like alert and talking and but I was kind of like spacey, like loopy, obviously. And they took me to I got situated in a room. And so my miracle baby, my miracle boy, that little boy was born July 7th, 2007. At 4:24 p.m. I giggle because he's 4 minutes off from 4:20. I kind of laugh at that. 4:20, the time. Anyways, some people will understand what I mean. I just think it's funny. Once I was like more stable and like talking and they were explaining to me what happened and okay, he had the umbilical cord was tied in 2 knots and wrapped around his neck 3 times. And the doctor told me if we hadn't have did what we did when we did it, he probably wouldn't have made it if they had waited any longer. And you know how most babies come out like pasty, like white, like this, you know, all slimy and wrinkly, and Johnny was just as smooth as could be. He didn't have the typical wrinkly skin like a newborn baby has. He was just smooth. There was no fluid, guys. There was nothing around him. And the doctor's like, Brenda, I honestly don't know how that little boy was breathing. She said, I don't understand. He's a miracle. And then I was explaining to her what I went through before him, and she said, wow. And then for him to be born 777. The reason I'm so emotional, guys, is that was very traumatic. Going through everything. the miscarriages, and then going through that for a delivery, the stress of how many doctor's appointments I had and how closely I was monitored, and so with the cord being wrapped around his neck, and they were monitoring him in the NICU to make sure there was no complications or anything done, like damage, like anything done to him because of that. And he had a bowel movement on the way out, and when babies have their first poop, it's like the meconium or whatever, and so he ended up having a poop on, like, when he was coming out, and so they were treating him for that, and so he was in the NICU, like, because oxygen levels and stuff were really low, and so it was like a few hours later, they wheeled me in to see him, because I hadn't got to see him. I didn't get to see him for 8 hours after he was born, so they wheeled me in. They wanted to make sure, like, get him stabilized first, and so they wheeled me in, and I remember they brought me in through one door, and he was on the other side of the room, and we weren't even near him, and I'm like, he's so beautiful, because I was still, like, Edinburgh, guys, and they had me on pain meds and stuff, too. I just had a C-section, and so then I got to see him. I didn't get to hold him. I didn't get to hold him for a whole week. He had to stay in the little incubator thing. He had to stay in there. He was in there for a week. I could, like, put my hands through and, like, touch him and touch his little face. But when I actually got to hold him, when I you guys saw that, right? Oreo, now you got fuzzies and stuff in my ranch dressing. So when I actually got to hold him, it was like a week later, and that was the most beautiful day of my life, was to actually get to hold my baby. And I thanked God, and I still to this day, with every single fiber of my being, I am so thankful for my son. And, oh my God. The road does not stop here with my story of having, giving birth to my son. So, but I'm going to end this video here, so I can just collect my thoughts and prepare myself to talk about the aftermath of having my son and, how it's affected and impacted me, just with everything, on honestly, the amount that I went through, was very traumatic, and I never did seek counseling or anything. And I honestly think that has a lot to do with not all of it, but I think it has a big role in my depression and I guess PTSD. I mean, I talked to my mom about it, and she, to this day is livid that they never offered me help in counseling. Like, honestly, the amount that I went through, it was like beautifully tragic. And I guess I really don't need to explain what I mean by that. I think most of you will understand. But, like I said, I'm not comparing my experience or my sadness or sorrow or experiences. I'm not comparing it to anyone. Like, this is just my story. This is about me. And, I'm not saying anything like my situation is the worst that you could go through. And I know that it's not. And I'm just sharing my story. So, but anyways, thank you for having dinner with me. I am going to finish this. But I love you guys, and I will see you in my next video. Deuces.